Another day, another story. Although many people probably think of bacteria when they hear the term microbe, there are many other microscopic organisms. Many are eukaryotic, i.e., having cells like our own, with a membrane-bound nucleus, as opposed to prokaryotic like bacteria. Welcome to Tabo Eminent Channel. While some of these are disease-causing, the majority simply exist as part of the vast food web and have their own ecological niches and importance. Many are considered protozoans, meaning they have animal-like traits and were once thought to be the ancestors of modern animals. These tiny creatures are commonly studied in school and can often be seen swimming in a drop of water viewed through a microscope. The following is a list of some of the common protozoan and algal microbes we share the world with. Protozoans and algae are both types of microorganisms, but they belong to different biological kingdoms. Here's an overview of each. Protozoans. Classification. Protozoans are single-celled eukaryotic organisms belonging to the kingdom Protista. Structure. They vary widely in shape and size, but all protozoans are unicellular. They may have structures like cilia, flagella, or pseudopodia for movement. Nutrition. Protozoans are primarily heterotrophic, meaning they obtain their food by ingesting other organisms or organic material. Habitat. They are found in various environments, including freshwater, marine environments, and soil. Common examples of protozoans include amoebas, paramecia, and trypanosomes. Algae. Classification. Algae are a diverse group of photosynthetic organisms that can be found in different kingdoms, including Protista, e.g., green algae, Plantae, e.g., red and green seaweeds, and bacteria, e.g., cyanobacteria, also known as blue-green algae. Structure. Algae range from unicellular to multicellular structures. They contain chlorophyll and other pigments, allowing them to carry out photosynthesis. Nutrition. Algae are autotrophic, meaning they produce their own food through photosynthesis. They convert sunlight into energy, using carbon dioxide and water to synthesize organic compounds. Habitat. Algae can be found in diverse habitats, including aquatic environments, freshwater and marine, soil, and even symbiotically in other organisms. Common examples of algae include green algae, red algae, brown algae, and diatoms. In summary, while both protozoans and algae are microscopic organisms, protozoans are primarily heterotrophic and belong to the kingdom Protista, whereas algae are mainly autotrophic and can be found in various kingdoms, including Protista and Plantae. 1. Paramecia. Paramecium is a well-known genus of non-parasitic protozoans that can be cultivated easily in the laboratory. They are usually oval-shaped with rounded or pointed ends and are completely covered with fine hair-like filaments known as cilia. The cilia beat rhythmically to propel them around their watery environs and also serve to direct bacteria and other food particles into their mouths. Unlike many other eukaryotic cells, paramecia have two kinds of nuclei: a large ellipsoidal nucleus called a macronucleus and at least one small nucleus called a micronucleus. Some species live in symbiosis with certain green algae, and many are important food for larger organisms, including fish larvae. Paramecia are single-celled, microscopic organisms belonging to the group of protozoans. They fall under the ciliate group, which means they possess hair-like structures called cilia on their surface that they use for movement and feeding. Paramecia are commonly found in freshwater environments, such as ponds, lakes, and slow-moving streams. Here are some key characteristics and features of paramecia. Shape and structure. Paramecia have an elongated, slipper or cigar-like shape. They are unicellular organisms, meaning they consist of a single cell. Cilia. Paramecia are covered with numerous cilia, which are tiny hair-like structures. The coordinated movement of these cilia helps the paramecium move through its aquatic environment. Nutrition. Paramecia are primarily heterotrophic, feeding on bacteria, smaller protists, and organic particles. They use their cilia to create water currents that draw food particles into a specialized oral groove. Pellicle. Paramecia have an outer covering called the pellicle, which provides the cell with its shape and rigidity. Contractile vacuole. They possess a contractile vacuole, which helps regulate water balance by expelling excess water from the cell. Reproduction. Paramecia reproduce through a form of asexual reproduction called binary fission, where a single cell divides into two identical daughter cells. Nucleus. Paramecia typically have two types of nuclei. a macronucleus, responsible for the everyday functioning of the cell, and one or more micronuclei, involved in genetic exchange during sexual reproduction, conjugation. Paramecia play a significant role in aquatic ecosystems as they contribute to the microbial food web by consuming bacteria and other microorganisms. Their simple structure and ease of cultivation make them valuable organisms for scientific study, particularly in the fields of cell biology and genetics. 2. Amoeba. Amoebas are primarily identified by their unusual method of movement. These single-celled organisms can stretch their cell membranes in temporary extensions called pseudopodia, or false feet, and then shift the rest of their cell contents into the foot to slide over to its location. This type of movement, called amoeboid movement, is considered to be the most primitive form of animal locomotion. Several amoeba species are parasitic and cause diseases such as amoebic dysentery in humans. One species, Naegleria fowleri, is an infamous brain eater that can cause death if it enters the human body through the nose. Amoebas are single-celled, microscopic organisms that belong to the group of protozoans. They are known for their distinctive shape-changing abilities and their mode of movement, which involves the extension of pseudopodia, temporary projections of the cell membrane and cytoplasm. Here are some key characteristics and features of amoebas. Shape and structure. Amoebas typically lack a fixed, specific shape. They often appear as irregularly shaped blobs or cells. They consist of a single cell with a flexible cell membrane and a gel-like cytoplasm. Movement. Amoebas move by extending and retracting pseudopodia, which are temporary, false feet, that allow them to crawl and engulf food particles. This mode of movement is called amoeboid movement. Nutrition. Amoebas are primarily heterotrophic, feeding on bacteria, algae, and other small organisms. They capture their prey by surrounding it with their pseudopodia, forming a food vacuole where digestion takes place. Reproduction. Amoebas reproduce asexually through a process called binary fission, where a single cell divides into two identical daughter cells. Some amoebas also undergo sexual reproduction, involving the exchange of genetic material between two individuals. Habitat. Amoebas are found in various environments, including freshwater, soil, and marine habitats. Nucleus. Amoebas typically have one or more nuclei within their cell. Amoebas play a crucial role in ecosystems as decomposers, helping to break down organic matter. They are also commonly used in scientific research, particularly in the study of cell biology and the understanding of processes like cell movement and phagocytosis. One well-known example of an amoeba is Amoeba proteus. It's important to note that there are various species of amoebas, and they can exhibit some variation in their characteristics. 3. Euglena. Euglena is a genus of more than 1,000 species found worldwide, many of which are commonly studied by biology classes. These microbes have a single whip-like flagellum, which beats much like a propeller to move them throughout their watery environments. Euglena are unusual in that they are photosynthetic like plants but can also feed on other organisms. They are able to absorb food, usually bacteria, directly through the cell surface by a process known as phagocytosis, in which the cell membrane entraps food particles in a specialized pocket, vacuole, for digestion. Although they are microscopic, they can amass in sufficient numbers to cause a water bloom, which colors fresh water green or red, depending on the species, and can be detrimental to wildlife. 4. Diatoms. There are about 16,000 species of diatom found in all the waters of Earth. As major oxygen producers and food for many aquatic organisms, diatoms are among the most important and prolific microscopic sea organisms on the planet. Diatoms are considered algae and can be colonial or live as a single cell. They are characterized by their beautiful intricate shells, which are made of silica and can persist when the organism dies. There are even artists who patiently use microscopes and needles to arrange diatoms into complex microscopic mosaics that resemble stained glass. These passive organisms do not have a means of locomotion and do not move on their own. 5. Volvox. Volvox is a genus of about 20 species of freshwater green algae found nearly worldwide. Unlike the other microbes on this list, Volvox are exclusively colonial and form hollow spherical colonies of 500 to 60,000 cells. Some large colonies are just visible to the naked eye, but many are microscopic. Interestingly, the various cells in the colony serve different purposes. Some are equipped with flagella and work in tandem with other flagellated cells to move the colony. Cells with eye spots are generally situated together to help orient the colony toward light for photosynthesis. Such coordination and organization are highly unusual for colonial algae, and scientists believe this structure could be important in understanding how animals evolved from microorganisms. Volvox is a type of green algae that forms spherical colonies. It is a member of the chlorophytes, a division of green algae within the plant kingdom. Here are some key characteristics and features of Volvox. Colony structure. Volvox colonies are spherical in shape and can vary in size from microscopic to easily visible to the naked eye. The colony is composed of numerous individual cells embedded in a gelatinous matrix. Each cell in the colony has two flagella, whip-like structures that protrude from the cell and are used for movement. Cell differentiation. The cells in the Volvox colony are differentiated into two main types: somatic cells and reproductive cells. Somatic cells are responsible for the movement and coordination of the colony. Reproductive cells are specialized for the production of new colonies. Asexual reproduction. Volvox reproduces asexually through a process called daughter colony formation. Daughter colonies develop within the parent colony, and when mature, they are released to continue the life cycle. Sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction occurs through the fusion of specialized reproductive cells, gametes. This process involves the formation of male and female gametes, their release, and subsequent fertilization. Photosynthesis. Volvox is photosynthetic, utilizing chlorophyll and other pigments to capture light energy for photosynthesis. The cells in the colony work together to optimize light exposure for photosynthesis. Habitat. Volvox is mainly found in freshwater habitats, such as ponds and lakes. Volvox colonies are a fascinating example of cellular cooperation, as the cells within the colony work together to perform various functions. The differentiation of cells into specialized roles is a step towards multicellularity, making Volvox an interesting subject of study in the context of evolutionary biology and the transition from single-celled to multicellular organisms. Thanks for watching. Request you to subscribe the channel.